Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you how to create a card from the catalog. If you've watched my videos before, you know probably that I like to share usually once a week. I did take a couple of weeks off, but usually once a week I like to jump online and share with you how to create a card from one of our catalogs because it is my favorite place to find inspiration. Sometimes I create the cards exactly as they are in the catalog. Sometimes I change them a little bit, sometimes I change them a lot to where you may not even recognize that it's a card from the catalog if I didn't tell you. So this time, I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera. This time I'm going to be doing a card from the mini catalog. This is the January to June mini catalog. And we are at the beginning of June. So the last chance list for this catalog is out. And some things have already sold out. Other things are being carried over. And still other things are on sale, which is my favorite thing. It's when everything goes on sale and you can pick up fabulous products at amazing prices. So you can swing over to my website and check that out. I'll leave the link in the description. But the card that we're going to be making today can be found on page 8. So this says it's using the Sweet Talk suite. It is not. Well, it is in the catalog, but what I'm doing today will not be. So I'm actually mixing it up a little bit. I'm using a card sketch, this one, from this catalog, and I'm using a stamp set, Dragonfly Garden, that has been around a while. It actually came out in a mini catalog, I think, last summer. I'm also going to be using Go-To Greetings, which is new to this, the 2022 to 2023 annual catalog, and the designer series paper I'm using is also from the new catalog. It is called Texture Chic. It's a 12 by 12 specialty designer series paper. It's gorgeous, and I think you will love it. So let me go ahead and put this to the side. I'm really excited about this card. I'm also using Scalloped Contours dies, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this middle die right here. I think this is one of my most used die sets. So this is the one I'm going to be using, and I have a 2 3/4 by 4 inch piece of cardstock here. This is Soft Succulent. It's one of our end colors for 2021 to 2023. And of course I'm using my mini stamp cut and emboss machine. So all of the dies in this die set can be used with a mini machine except for the largest one. The largest one is too big to fit in this. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about ordering it and only have the mini. I don't use the biggest one very often, but I do use it. It's a great die. I'll show it to you in just a second. I showed it to you just a minute ago, but I'll show it to you again. And oh my goodness, I forgot. When I put this on my grid paper, the feet don't cling to that grid paper like they do to my desk. So it wiggles some. I'm going to have to adjust everything. Alright, so I have this cut out, and I'm just going to put that to the side. I also have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of that Texture Chic designer series paper. I have an 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 piece of Petal Pink cardstock, scored at 4 1/4 inches. And I'm going to use my Stamparatus to stamp this dragonfly on a piece of soft suede cardstock. I like to use the Stamparatus for this because I can stamp twice and get a nice dark image. So I'm actually going to be stamping the dragonfly twice on I've got 2 sheets of cardstock here. This is, like I said, the soft suede. It's cut 2 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and that's just so I have something to hang on to. So I want to remember that this is where my cardstock goes. I'm just using Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Let's see if I can get it to where you can see me. There you go. Just inking that up really nicely. And I pull it gently. I pulled it a little bit more than gently that time, I think, because I moved my Stamparatus. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Dragonfly punch to punch these out, and I always turn it upside down so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, and now I'm going to grab a little silicone mat and my Wink of Stella. I like to use this. I can dribble a little bit of Wink of Stella, ooh, I got a lot, onto my mat, and then I can use the brush just to pick it up, and I don't have to keep squeezing and being afraid that I'm going to get a bubble or a drip or something. I'm not sure you can see that shine like it is, but let me pull it up. Isn't that fun? I love that sparkle on the wings. I use Wink of Stella almost every time I stamp anything with wings, especially bees and dragonflies. So fun, and it's alcohol based, so it dries really quickly. And it also means it's not great to use it with Stampin' Blends. You want to use a water-based ink. Okay, so the other thing that I have is the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This is just 3 1/4 inches this way by 1 15/16 of an inch. So it's just a skosh less than 2 inches is what this is. So I'm going to use my Soft Succulent ink pad, and I opened it all the way, which I did not mean to. I just want to open it this way. So earlier today I squeezed it with the heels of my hands while it was closed, just to get some ink into the lid, and now I'm going to use that ink to add a little bit of watercolor to this paper. And I would recommend that if you get it as wet as I just did, that you just clean that up with a paper towel before you close it, so that you don't have watery ink running out the sides when you close it up. And you can add as little or as much ink as you want. I think, just to make this even more fun, I'm going to get my smaller water painter. I love these things. And I really like to use them to splatter ink. So I'm going to get a little bit of ink and water on the tip of this. Actually, I grabbed a big one, but that's okay. And I'm just going to splatter it on. Oh, I need more water. This one's dry. So let me show you one more tip. This is my daughter's watering tool to water her succulents with. So I borrow it most of the time. She doesn't need it all the time to water her succulents. That doesn't happen every day. So I keep it on my desk, and that way it's really easy to fill up these water painters. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit more water to the tip and just splat that on. And now I want more ink. So yeah, that works better with the smaller water painter. And over here off camera, I'm just brushing the tip of this off onto a paper towel to get all of the ink out. Just squeeze a little bit extra water down there and just brush it until your brush comes out clean. And it does help. You can run it underwater, but you still need to squeeze it because that runs all the paint out of it that might have been run into it, if that made sense. So now we have most of our pieces. One more thing that we need is just a scrap of petal pink cardstock, and this is going to be for our sentiment. So I'm using Thinking of You this time. And this is the smallest one. I love this Go-To Greetings stamp set because it has several different greetings on it in different sizes. So it's perfect for just about any card. And I love the fonts that they used for this one. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp this. And let's see if I get... Nope, no halo. Sometimes when the rubber on these is this wide, you can accidentally get a little bit of ink on the edge and then it'll pick up on your cardstock, but not that time. It's just something to be aware of, and a lot of times I'll just either run my finger along the edge and then have ink all over my finger, or I like to keep a cloth at my desk or a baby wipe, and those work great. So I'm just trimming around that, and I'm actually going to trim, you know what, I think I'm going to leave it just like that. You can trim it as close as you want, so if you want it closer than that, go ahead. But I think that that is what I'm going to leave it as. Okay, so now grab your favorite adhesive. For me, that's the multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm just going to add this first layer to my card base. And then I'm going to add this watercolor paper to my die cut piece. And I cut that wrong. I'm just realizing I had 2 measurements written down, and I think I looked at the wrong one. So that should have been 3 1/4 inches. Yeah, I cut it wrong. But that's okay. It still looks good. It's just not as perfectly close to the edge as I had in my mind had it being. So I'm just going to put this one on at a bit of an angle. And then I want to add this sentiment down in the lower right hand corner. So then I'm going to add my dragonflies using mini Stampin' Dimensionals. It really does not take that it really doesn't take the, I totally lost my word, the Wink of Stella long at all to dry. So you should be good to go at this point. to turn these over and not worry about it. So I always cut a mini Stampin' Dimensional in half to put on the tail of the dragonfly. And then I'm going to use the other half for this other dragonfly. Just be careful when you're doing this that you don't have it hanging over the edge. You don't want to be able to see that Stampin' Dimensional. You want it hidden pretty well. You can put it as high or as low as you want. I would recommend overlapping them a smidge. And there you go. So again, the original was the Sweet Talk Suite, and here it is. And then here is the card that I made with the dragonflies and the texture chic. So I hope that you like this one. I love everything about this card. I don't typically use soft suede, but it's in this designer series paper, and I just think it was perfect for these dragonflies, and the Wink of Stella really snazzes it up a bit. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, or hit subscribe if you haven't already. I always love that. And if you decide to place an order with that awesome last chance sale, go ahead and use my June host code if you don't mind. I would appreciate that very much, and you'll get a little something in the mail from me when you do. So thanks again for watching. Happy stamping!